Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you once again for joining us for another episode of Talkin Fight, featuring Christian Giles from the Friday night panel. We're going to speak about the Olympics. In particular, we're going to speak about boxing at the Olympics coming up this July in a few short weeks. What do you got for us, Christian?
Well, Graham, just a couple of things today, before we move into the panel later on tonight. But to kick us off, International Boxing Association President Umar Kremlev has recently called for a change in mentality among referees and judges after a meeting with officials in Italy. So Kremlev sat down with the team judging the action at the European Under-22 Championships taking place in Roseto degli Abruzzi, Italy. Now, refereeing is a key issue, you guys know, for AIBA, as it was one of the main areas highlighted by the International Olympic Committee when it was stripped by the governing body for the Olympics of its status back in June of 2019. And again, you guys will also know that all 36 referees and judges at the Rio 2016 Olympics were suspended following suspicious results, with AIBA now launching a fresh probe into that scandal headed up by Richard McLaren, the same guy who uncovered the extent of the state-sponsored Russian doping scandal just a couple of years ago. Now, earlier this month, it was revealed that AIBA was also investigating allegations of rigged judging at this past May's Asian Championships in Dubai. So what Kremlev said here is he said, first and foremost, I would like to say that I do appreciate your work. You have to take your work thoughtfully. You have to be cautious and responsible. And remember that you represent boxing as a whole, not a sole country. AIBA is now a debt-free organization, and we will now be investing in our athletes' well-being. We have to make AIBA stronger together. Those who do not want to be on the team, who do not respect the rules, will be excluded. We should be the guarantors of fair play for all of our athletes. Franco Felsinelli, who is the president of the European Boxing Confederation, added that this area is under the scrutiny of the IOC. We have to improve significantly to achieve our goals. Currently, an IOC boxing task force has been set up to run the competition at this Tokyo Games. But as you guys will also know, it's not ideal because this task force was not prepared. They weren't able to move major tournaments on short notice. For example, I mean, it's being run by the head of the gymnastics organization, for starters. So hopefully this all goes a long way to bringing back the AIBA to the IOC fold here. To that front, like, new rules have already been introduced, and we've covered some of this before, with a computer system now randomly selecting judges for bouts. 5 judges now score contests instead of 3, with their scores flashing at the end of every round as opposed to at the end of the fight. So we have seen a few things taking place there, and, it's all positive steps. It's all moving forward. And, from Kremlin, we're still hearing the right sort of rhetoric that this is going to continue moving in the right direction. So all good news on that front. Hopefully we're able to see them reinstated by Paris 2024. That way, in case there's any more hiccups on the qualifications, we don't see what's happening with this boxing task force. But let's move on from there. We've talked a few times about our friends across the pond, but we're going to take, now that they've formalized their team now, as to who is going to be headed to Tokyo. So let's have a quick look here. And we're not going to go, fighter by fighter and give full backstories, because we're going to look at a couple of them a little closer as we get closer to the games, a little bit more in depth. But they have formalized now. So let's take a look at the now formalized Great Britain squad. This squad looks to be at least as strong as the London 2012 counterpart that won 5 medals. So Team Great Britain then relied kind of heavily on Anthony Joshua, Luke Campbell, and Nicola Adams, all who won gold. Well, the 2021 squad is going to have the benefit of a much deeper talent pool. All 11 British fighters in Tokyo can claim realistically to be in medal contention if they get the right draw. Now, that was not necessarily true of the Great Britain teams in London, and then again in Rio 2016, where there was only 3 medals won. So we got Pat McCormack, Lauren Price, and Peter McGrail all carrying serious gold medal aspirations, and the squad's packed with compelling characters. Now, the most intriguing, or one of the most intriguing, I should say here, is definitely going to be Caroline Dubois, who comes from a large family of boxers. And now she's fighting at the lightweight category here. 3 years ago, when she was only 17, the BBC's boxing commentator Mike Costello said, quote, I'm tempted to call Caroline Dubois the best female boxer I've ever seen, end quote. Now, Dubois won the won the Youth Olympics and the World Juniors, and never even came close to being beaten as a junior. Now, this month in her first senior tournament, which was the Olympics qualifier in Paris, she did come in for a somewhat brutal draw. Now, in her opening fight, Dubois was faced up against the world number 2, Mira Potkinen of Finland, who had beaten Katie Taylor, the then reigning world champion, in the quarterfinals at Rio to take home Finland's only medal from the Rio Games, I might add. Dubois won a testing battle there, showing far more poise than the vastly experienced Potkinen. Potkinen, if memory serves, was pretty scrappy, if I'm being perfectly honest, during that fight. She was leaning heavy on Dubois and, maybe letting go of clinches a little later than she should have, things like that. Basically, she was using all the things in her veteran's arsenal to kind of start to sway that fight a little bit more in her favor. Not that it worked. And so Dubois reached the final of the European qualifying tournament to secure her place in Tokyo. Charlie Davidson, the flyweights, as we've covered before, stepped away from boxing for 7 years to become a mother to 3 children, making an unexpected comeback in 2018. Her qualification for Tokyo has been, it's been as inspiring for as many as it was surprising. And again, you would not know to look at this fighter that she took any break from the sport whatsoever, let alone 7 years off. So again, all these fighters are in great medal contention, which is bizarre to see so many on one team. Look at some of the lads. We've got Chayvon Clark in the heavyweight. He came close to death twice as a boy, but he is an exuberant character. And team captain Fraser Clark narrowly missed out on the Olympics when his super heavyweight place for Rio, that is, went to Joe Joyce, who ended up bringing home silver, one of only 3 medals from Rio. Great Britain's boxing performance director Rob McCracken has said to qualify 11 boxers is a fantastic achievement, especially as they only had the one competitive opportunity to earn a place at Tokyo. The last 12 months have been very challenging, but our boxers have delivered. Fraser Clark chimed in here saying, I've dedicated the last 10 years to this, and to finally be selected to represent Team Great Britain is amazing. This is a really strong team, so to have been named captain is an unbelievable honor. Now, Fraser Clark's been on the British team now for 3 Olympic cycles, but this is the first games that he's actually qualified for himself. So he has been with the national team for a while, but this is the first time he's gone. And to be named captain, he's walking on air at this point, this guy. Now, again, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on some of these fighters from Great Britain, especially because I know we've got a few of our followers are across the pond, so we like to help them take a local interest. But we'll be getting a little bit more in depth with some of these boxers as we get a couple of weeks closer to the games here. But to round out the whole team, what we've got here on the women's side, we're going to be seeing Charlie Davidson in the flyweights, Karis Ardingstall at featherweight, Caroline Dubois fighting lightweight, and Lauren Price rounding things out for the ladies at middleweight. On the men's side of things, we're going to see Galal Yafai in the flyweight. Again, this guy is lightning fast. Go back and watch the 2 rounds that we did get out of him in the European qualifiers. It was like watching a fight and fast forward. It was brilliant. Peter McGrail at the featherweight, Luke McCormick fighting at lightweight, Pat McCormick in the welterweight, Ben Whitaker, of course, fighting light heavy, and Chayvon Clark at heavy, and Fraser Clark to round things out for the men at the super heavyweight. Again, this is going to be a big team to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to them almost as much as I am our limited Canadians that we're going to be seeing at this tournament. But again, we're going to get into some of these guys a little closer to the games. But looking around the rings this morning, Graham, that's what we've got for you in the world of news.
Fantastic. Thanks for that update, Christian. I really appreciate it. And seeing it's Friday, I guess we're all ready for the Friday night panel, are we?
Oh yeah, there's always stuff to talk about on Friday nights. We've got a nice Jack Dempsey fight from the 1920s to have a little chat about when we first get started on the Friday night panel, and we'll just roll on from there as we always do.
Excellent. Looking forward to it. See you then. Thank you.